Maybe my Tampa Bay Buccaneers won Super Bowl 55 with Tom Brady being a GOAT, my defense sacking Patrick Mahomes, and best of all, on my pirate ship, to celebrate all my gold with me firing the cannons. Arr!
Hey hosts, welcome back to BlueTube. I am Mitchell, and today we're going to be recapping Super Bowl 55, in which the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 31-9. Obviously, Tom Brady won his 5th Super Bowl MVP. The Buccaneer defense were able to sack Patrick Mahomes numerous times, and obviously my man Bruce Arians was able to catch his first Super Bowl victory as a head coach. Obviously, the game was a little bit surprising to some. A lot of people expect this to be a really close game because he had two of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL right now, obviously with Patrick Mahomes being 23 years old, I believe, but he was seeking his 2nd Super Bowl title, and the Chiefs were looking to become the first team since the 2003 and the 2004 New England Patriots as repeating Super Bowl champions. For the Kansas City Chiefs, you had Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, rookie Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell leading the running game. You have Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Cole Hartman, and really fast group of wide receivers. The only concern with the Chiefs is the offensive line play because they're two tackles, Mitchell Schwartz on the right side, Eric Fisher on the left side. Both of them were out for the game, and you also had guys like Kalicio Simile who was out as well. So we're getting more into that later on in the video. The Kansas City defense, you had Frank Clark on the right side leading the defensive end, and you had Noah Crow and Chris Jones. You have Anthony Hitchens leading the linebacking core, and then you look at the secondary. Obviously, you just shrunk the Kansas City defense, which is led by Steve Spagnuolo. Tyrann Mathieu, all-pro safety, L'Jarius Sneed. Now, the opponent of the Kansas City Chiefs was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, looking to win their first Super Bowl since 2002, and Tom Brady leading them at the helm. Now, obviously, besides Tom Brady, you have Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones as the running backs. You got Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate with the tight ends, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown with the wide receivers, and a really good offensive line. Defense, really dominant front seven, obviously led by Todd Bowles. You had Shaq Barrett on one side, Stuart Paul on the other. Obviously, you had the '1 rush defense in the National Football League. And then for the linebackers, you had two really outstanding linebackers, Devin Wright and Levante David. In the secondary of the Buccaneers, you had guys like Carlton Davis, Jordan Whitehead, Antoine Winfield, Jamal Dean, and many other people in the secondary. So the Super Bowl was actually the lowest attendance in NFL history. You only had 24,835, which is around 38% capacity of Raymond James Stadium. Another key thing to point out is that it was the first time in sport history that the home team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, were able to host the Super Bowl in their home stadium. So, shout out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, the Super Bowl attendance was really low because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Actually, 7,000 people that did attend the Super Bowl, a lot of them were vaccinated healthcare workers fighting the pandemic. So, shout out to the healthcare workers for keeping us safe. If you were watching the game, you kind of noticed that the stadium was kind of full, and you were wondering yourself, well, why is the stadium full? Why is it supposed to be 24,000 seats? Well, actually, the NFL had a contest in which fans could create a cutout on themselves, and they could submit it to the league, and they could have an opportunity for a chance to go to the next year's Super Bowl in Los Angeles. So, pretty nice way to come. Obviously, since a lot of fans didn't have tickets. Well, they had tickets, but couldn't go to the Super Bowl because of the pandemic. It's a good opportunity, to give it a chance to explore the experience. A lot of them were watching the Super Bowl at home. Go back up to see your Super Bowl. This is the first female Super Bowl official in Sarah Thomas, under the referee Carl Schiffers, who was his 2nd Super Bowl as well. Without further ado, let's get on gameplay. Obviously, it was a shock to a lot of people how the Kansas City Chiefs lost the Super Bowl. It was a little bit of a shock because they were kind of home running favorites. A lot of people were expecting. Some even actually expect the Kansas City Chiefs to blow out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to explain to you why the Kansas City Chiefs only were led to 9 points and how Todd Bowles' defense would not let them score a touchdown. Kansas City lost this game, #1, because of penalties. Kansas City had 11 penalties for 120 yards. They had a lot of key penalties. A lot of them came on 3rd down situations. Obviously, if you were watching the game, obviously, I think there was two key moments in that game that I think kind of cost Kansas City Chiefs momentum to go downhill. There's a field goal in which Ryan Sutter of the Buccaneers was going to line up and attempt. It was a 4 for 5 situation, and one of the Kansas City players jumped off sides. Because of that, it was a first down for Tampa Bay, and they could not help them to a field goal. So to my Kansas City Chiefs player that jumped off sides, come on, man, you gotta do better. Look at basically in the red zone, Buccaneers had a 3rd and goal. They were able to get incomplete, but unfortunately, when the Kansas City defensive backs were just too aggressive against one of the Tampa Bay wide receivers, and unfortunately, the flag had to be thrown. Instead of a 3rd down and goal and forcing that field goal, they had a fresh set of downs. So, with that, the Buccaneers were able to score. And really, with the penalties, a lot of Kansas City defensive backs, because obviously you're going up against Gronkowski, going up against Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller, so are Tampa Bay wide receivers that are really fast, really physical, and unfortunately, the Kansas City Chiefs defensive backs were just completely unmatched throughout the game. And speaking of the defensive backs, Tyrann Mathieu had an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty near the end of the second half. But the penalties, the 11 penalties for 120 yards, that kind of sent the Kansas City Chiefs into a downhill. The second reason why Kansas City lost this game was no impact receivers. If you look at the stats, Patrick Mahomes was 26 for 49, 270 yards and 2 interceptions. But if you look at the map, Travis Kelce, 10 receptions for 133 yards. But if you take away Kelce's numbers, Patrick Mahomes was only 137 yards without Travis Kelce's reception. So that means no Tyreek Hill, no Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Le'Veon Bell in the passing game, no McCall Hartman, no Sammy Watkins. So basically, Patrick Mahomes is just throwing most of the time to Travis Kelce. Give credit for the Buccaneers defensive coordinator Todd Bowles for basically having Patrick Mahomes only one option instead of having multiple options to get a lot of yards and possibly some points to get back into the football game. But, and obviously that's a big impact for Patrick Mahomes because without Tyreek Hill, without the receivers over than Kelce, the Kansas City Chiefs wouldn't have won, not only wouldn't have won the Super Bowl last year, but they wouldn't have made it back. So obviously it hurts Patrick Mahomes for not having his other impact receivers. And number 3, reason why the Kansas City Chiefs lost this game, offensive line play. Oh my God, they were terrible. Obviously, your 2 tackles, I said, Mitchell Schwartz, Eric Fisher, they're out for a game. And basically, you have Andrew Riley on the right side, who mostly plays the guard position. He was on the right tackle. And obviously, if you're moving positions, there's a lot of change that you have to know and adjust to. And then you had Mike Rimmers. And for my Panther fans out there, that name sounds familiar to you. That's the main reason why the Panthers lost Super Bowl 50 to the Denver Broncos. Because Mike Rimmers couldn't block Von Miller. And you know what? That's exactly why Kansas City Chiefs lost the Super Bowl. Because the offensive line allowed a lot of hits on Patrick Mahomes. You kind of look at throughout the game, Patrick Mahomes is like running for his life. Just like every time he just step back in the pocket, there's this pressure from Shaq Barrett, JPD, and other Tampa Bay defenders. And he was just basically running around the pocket like, oh my God, And without that, Patrick Mahomes had a lot of incompletions. He had to throw for over 49 times. And with that, if you throw for 49 times, you're not winning the Super Bowl. Give credit for Todd Bowles and the defense for harassing Patrick Mahomes throughout the game. Now, if you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the reason why they won the Super Bowl, just like I said earlier, defense equals championships. I don't care if it's basketball, hockey, soccer, whatever. But audience, I want to tell you something this. Defense wins championships. Offense do not. Obviously, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense, they're able to get out Patrick Mahomes a lot. Ndamukong Suh had 1 sack. Shaq Barrett had 1 sack. Devin Wright had a red zone interception. JPP got some hits on the quarterback. Levante David had some key tackles. Antoine Winfield was able to come up with a key interception as well. So give credit for Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense were able to stop the Kansas City Chiefs and limiting them without a single touchdown, because we watched the game in the regular season in which the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was like Tyreek Hill had like 250-yard reception in the game. They played a lot of man-to-man coverage, and obviously it was 17-0. And obviously give credit to Todd Bowles for going for the 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, coming up with a creative game plan to give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a chance to win the game. Second reason, in relation to the defense, was coaching staff. Obviously, Brian Leftwich, the offensive coordinator, they were allowed Tom Brady to have a good game, He was 21 for 29 for 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. Leonard Fournette was able to have 62 for 89 yards and a touchdown. Ronald Jones got some good carries as well. Gronkowski had 6 receptions for 67 yards for 2 touchdowns. And obviously Antonio Brown was able to score a touchdown as well. And actually, fun fact was, the 31 points scored by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were a fun fact. None of them was on the team last year. So, shout out for Jason Light, the general manager for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for able to go out and improve the roster for this season. And obviously, going back to the coaching, I mean, Bruce Arians, Brian Leftwich, Todd Bowles, they just completely outcoached Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid's staff, Eric Bieniemy, Steve Spagnuolo. They completely outcoaching them, and they had a really good game plan to give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a chance to win the game. The third reason why Tom Brady's to go. Mahomes, basically, based on Patrick Mahomes and Patrick Mahomes himself, he's great now. Trust me, he's going to win a lot more Super Bowls in his upcoming NFL career. But I want to tell the people watching this video, whoever thinks Patrick Mahomes is ever going to be the GOAT, I want to tell you something right now. There will never be another quarterback in the National Football League ever like Tom Brady. And you know what that means? Patrick Mahomes will never be the GOAT. There's going to be no one in the National Football League that will ever surpass Tom Brady. Because of free agency, the draft, salary cap issues, whatever. Tom Brady, obviously, good game. Basically brought a huge cultural shift to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this offseason. Basically showed them how to win, and you basically saw throughout the game basically the impact of Tom Brady had on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think, without Tom Brady's effectiveness, for getting people to study film differently, to have a good work ethic, Tampa Bay Buccaneers would not have been in this place without Tom Brady. I think these teams have a great chance to get back to the Super Bowl. I think let's start with a loser, because winners always go first. But if you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, I think if you want to get back to the Super Bowl, I think the one thing you have to do is you got to consider maybe changing up your defense. I know Steve Spagnuolo, this is his second year, and I'm not in favor of a guy parting ways or lose his job after 2 years, but if the Kansas City Chiefs want to establish this dynasty that a lot of the media have been talking about them doing, then I think you have to consider getting a better defensive coordinator to be able to stop powerhouse offenses like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think for the draft, if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, I would try to find a way to improve that defense, especially having another edge rusher to go along with Chris Jones and Frank Clark, maybe improving the linebacking core. I think when you look at the AFC West, I think that Justin Herbert and the Chargers are going to be really good. The Raiders got a new defensive coordinator, Gus Bradley. Broncos are in a make or break season. So I think that AFC West could be tough. I think Kansas City has a shot to make the playoffs. I'm just not sure that they're going to go back to the Super Bowl for a third straight year, because obviously it's very hard to make it back-to-back Super Bowls, and it's even harder to make it to 3 straight Super Bowls because of a variety of reasons, such as the salary cap, draft, and many other reasons as well. Tampa, obviously a lot easier path because they don't have to go through the Super Bowl hangover like the Kansas City Chiefs now have to deal with. Obviously, there are going to be some key free agents that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to re-sign, but I think if you're able to bring as much guys back as you can, obviously you get your 2 coordinators back. Bruce Arians, there's been rumors that he might retire. I'm not sure, but as of right now, he's going to come back. Obviously, you still have Tom Brady and a lot of these players that helped the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl. And then you look at the South, Carolina looks to improve, but they got some holes. Atlanta, new head coach. New Orleans, new quarterback. So I expect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be the division winner next year, and I think they have a great shot to make it back to the Super Bowl 56 next year in Los Angeles. That's the video recapping Super Bowl 55. If you like this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment on what parts you like, you hated, and we'll make sure we improve your BlueTube experience for next time. So, I am Mitchell Mercer, and we will see you next time on BlueTube. You have a good day. Hi, Ken.